Friends, today I'm going to share a true story with you. After hearing it, believe me, this story will stay on your mind for days. In this video, you'll see how a 10 rupee note adds more twist to the puzzle of a double murder case. This incident shows us that no matter how clever the killer is, in the end, they always get caught. So make sure to stay until the end of the video to learn more about this thrilling story. Before we proceed, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe right away. And after watching this true story, do share your thoughts in the comment box. The story begins in the Palam Vihar area of Delhi, where an Air Force accountant officer, Raghuveer Singh, lived happily with his wife and 27-year-old son. His family was content and happy, but little did Raghuveer Singh know that their happiness was about to turn into grief, and their lives were about to take a horrifying turn. One evening around 7 p.m., Raghuveer Singh, as usual, finished his office work and headed home. As he approached his house, he noticed the door was open and the gate was wide open too. There was no one around, which made him feel uneasy. Normally, he would have to ring the doorbell and his wife or son would open the door. But that day, the door was already open, so he thought perhaps someone had left it open by mistake. Raghuveer Singh went straight inside. As soon as he entered the house, he saw that everything was in complete disarray. He hurried towards his room, and as he stepped inside, the sight before him made his heart skip a beat. His 55-year-old wife was lying dead, covered in blood. Shocked, Raghuveer Singh froze and then called out loudly for his son, rushing towards his son's room. As soon as he enters his son's room, he sees a horrifying scene. His 27-year-old son's blood-soaked body lies there. Seeing this, Raghuveer Singh screams and starts yelling loudly. Hearing his cries, the neighbors rush over. They too are stunned to see that someone had brutally murdered the Air Force accountant, Raghuveer Singh's wife and son. One of the neighbors immediately calls the police, and within minutes they arrive. A crowd gathers, and the police send the mother and son's bodies for post-mortem. Everyone had the same question on their mind: why would someone do this? The police quickly begin their investigation. During the investigation, they find the house ransacked, with belongings scattered all around the rooms and closets. This makes the police suspect it could be a case of robbery. But when the real truth came to light, no one could believe it. And when you hear this truth, it will send chills down your spine. Afterward, the news reaches all the relatives and they gather together. With tearful eyes, the last rites for the mother and son are performed. Meanwhile, the police investigation continues, and then they receive a shocking piece of information. There were CCTV cameras installed in the house, but the DVR containing the recordings was missing. This meant that someone had intentionally removed the DVR, which stored all the recordings. This detail bothers the police, as it suggests that whoever came here knew there were cameras in the house and where the recordings were stored. Following this lead, the police deepen their investigation and look into Raghuveer Singh's background. They try to find out if he had any enemies. However, they find no such clue, as Raghuveer Singh was from a simple family and had no known enemies. The police then look into the record of Raghuveer Singh's 27-year-old son. They find out that he worked a private job but lost it during the 2020 lockdown and had been unemployed since then. He had been living with his parents at home. However, the police find no evidence of any enmity involving the son either. So friends, now the police were dealing with a double murder case where there was no concrete evidence, no suspects, and no CCTV footage. Time passed, and the police occasionally visited the family to question relatives and neighbors, but nothing substantial came up. Meanwhile, Abhishek, the son of Raghuveer Singh's wife's brother, showed courage and pressured the police, claiming they were not investigating properly. Abhishek, who was the son of Raghuveer Singh's sister, was quite close to Raghuveer's son and stayed with Raghuveer during these difficult days. Under Abhishek's pressure, the police felt they needed to re-examine the case thoroughly. They began reviewing footage from cameras placed around the area. That's when the owner of a house in the neighborhood showed the police a 4-second CCTV clip. It showed a person with a cloth wrapped around their face, holding something that looked like a DVR device. The police suspected that this might be the killer, but the face wasn't clear in the footage, making identification impossible. However, they did notice that the person was on foot and had no vehicle. This led the police to think that he might have used some form of public transport, like an auto rickshaw, taxi, bus, or battery rickshaw. Now the police were fully committed to finding the killer who had taken 2 innocent lives for unknown reasons. The police began questioning all the rickshaw and auto drivers in the area, showing them the video clip. But no one recognized the person or had seen him before. Then a battery rickshaw driver came forward and said that on Tuesday, a boy with a similar appearance, with a cloth covering his face, had ridden in his rickshaw. This was the first breakthrough for the police. The rickshaw driver further explained that he remembered the boy because there were blood stains on his clothes and hands, and he seemed nervous. However, the police still felt it wouldn't be easy to reach the killer with this limited information. That's when the rickshaw driver mentioned something unusual that changed the course of the case. He said that when he dropped the boy at the metro station, the boy paid 30 rupees, a 20 rupee note, and a 10 rupee note. But the 10 rupee note was torn. The rickshaw driver told the boy that the torn note wouldn't work and asked him to replace it. The boy only had a 500 rupee note, which the driver refused to accept. The boy then asked for the rickshaw driver's Paytm number and said, "I'll Paytm you 10 rupees. And indeed, he sent 10 rupees via Paytm. Friends, hearing this, the police's eyes lit up. They immediately took the rickshaw driver's phone and started investigating the number from which the boy had made a Paytm transaction on Tuesday. When the police looked into that number, the whole matter became clear. The number belonged to Abhishek, the son of Raghuveer Singh's wife's brother, who had been with Raghuveer Singh since the murder. It was Abhishek who had arranged the last rites for the mother and son and was present with the dead body at the hospital. Abhishek, who had been repeatedly pressuring the police, was succeeding in misleading them. But ultimately, a torn 10 rupee note in the Paytm transaction became the reasons for his arrest, something he could never have imagined. However, friends, people still wondered why Abhishek had murdered those innocent people so ruthlessly. When the police interrogated Abhishek, it was revealed that he had borrowed 50,000 rupees from his aunt. But due to the lockdown, he lost his job and had no means left to repay the money. One day, he went to Raghuveer Singh's house, where he had a meal and watched a movie with his cousin. During this time, his aunt reminded him about the money he had borrowed. After repeatedly asking for the money, Abhishek started feeling insulted. He felt that despite having no money, he was constantly being taunted, which filled him with rage. In this anger, he had an argument with Raghuveer Singh's wife. The fight escalated to the point where Abhishek used a heavy dumbbell in the house to kill both the mother and son. After that, he scattered items around the house and removed the CCTV footage to make it look like a robbery. But friends, if the rickshaw driver had accepted that 10 rupee note, perhaps the Paytm transaction wouldn't have happened, and it would have taken the police longer to catch him. No matter how clever a killer thinks they are, they eventually get caught. Today, Abhishek is serving a sentence in jail for the murder of the innocent mother and son. Friends, this incident not only shames relationships, but also humanity. We should definitely learn a lesson from this. Share your thoughts in the comment box and stay connected with us. We will meet again with another true story. Until then, take care. Thank you.